Good morning and welcome back to Mona's Take. I am your host, Mona Rose, and we are here to talk about everything reality TV. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything I have coming up. Live feeds, this is day 41, I believe. Halfway through. We've got 6 weeks left, and it's starting to get a little dicey. People are acting on a whole nother level on that. So yeah, we just see that karma train coming through. Choo-choo. Mood of the day. Really? You gotta give us more credit than that. Some people, buckle up, buttercup. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Taylor, Brittany, and Michael talk. And Taylor's saying that she understands Kyle's stance, that she has a similar stance. So she's seeing the comparison between Kyle's personal and her personal. That's a good thing. So she's a little upset that she couldn't get Alyssa out, but she understands it. And I think that they've kind of sort of made amends. Taylor says that Alyssa has a final two with Jasmine. So we've got to get her out. We've got to get her out. Everybody in there has a final two at this point. I don't think, if you don't have a final two halfway through the show, you're not playing Big Brother. Indy goes to talk to Kyle again, and she tells him that she loves him no matter what he does. And he said, I hope so. And she asked if he was 100% sure that it was because of Alyssa. So she's wanting to know, is that the real reason that you didn't use the veto? Or are you protecting someone? He is protecting someone. He's protecting Alyssa, but they don't know it. They think he's protecting Monty. The next conversation is between Terrence, Taylor, and Jasmine. And Jasmine says, Taylor, are you really upset that he's not using the video, or are you just acting like you're upset? Why don't you just come out and ask her, are you playing me? She's like, are you sure you're 100%? Jasmine's watching everybody. She's watching their faces. She's watching their reactions in every room that she's in. And she's trying to put two and two together. But what's funny is Daniel and Nicole have told everybody in there about the seven. They don't know the name of the alliance. But these people are still trusting Joseph. They're still trusting Kyle. It's like they don't believe Daniel. So when they get out and they find out that he was right, they're going to be like, oh, we should have woke up because we're sleeping through this whole season. Jasmine said that Indy screwed herself by saying to Kyle, she's telling Taylor this. She's saying Indy screwed herself by telling Kyle that we had the votes to get him out last week and we kept him over Daniel, almost in a threatening manner. And Taylor says, is that when y'all came upstairs? Now remember, the conversation that Kyle had with Indy included Jasmine in the backyard, but Jasmine has tried to act like she wasn't there for that conversation. She's acting shocked when Indy tells her that he's not going to use the veto. She's acting shocked whenever Indy says, oh, it's because of Alyssa, because he's afraid Alyssa will go up. So Taylor's remembering this conversation. And she's putting two and two together. She's working throughout the night to bust Jasmine in that lie. Jasmine's already started distancing herself from Indy. She sees the writing on the wall, and she's ready to vote Indy out. But she's feeling everybody else out to see what's going on in the house. They have the veto ceremony. Nom stayed the same. Kyle did not use the veto. You see right after the veto ceremony, it's Joseph, Alyssa, and Jasmine in the bubble room. And Jasmine's telling them, you're my number one guy, and you're my number one girl. and I'm afraid Kyle's going to come after us. And Alyssa said, don't even worry. I know it looks that way, but that's not what it is. I promise you, he's not coming after you. And then Jasmine said, do you think it's a poker face? And Alyssa said, what do you mean? And she said, do you think Taylor's just acting like she's mad that she knew he wasn't going to use the veto? And she's just putting on a show because, she likes her theatrics. And Alyssa said, I don't know. I honestly don't know what's going on. And Joseph's like, that may be, that may be what's going on. Jasmine said, she's a pageant girl. She's good at that stuff. That was her poker face. The next conversation is between Terrence, Michael, Brittany, and Taylor. Terrence says Alyssa and Kyle have to give their vote to him since they're so sick of Indy. So he's already saying, I know I've got Kyle on Alyssa's vote. Terrence said someone always implodes every week, and it's not going to be me. I'm going to sit back and just watch. Evidently, Taylor put on a pretty good show after the veto ceremony, and she chewed Kyle's ass in front of the whole house, was yelling, acting pissed off, and didn't tell anybody she was going to do it. Not even Kyle. Nobody from the leftovers knew she was going to do it. So people from the leftovers were coming up to Monty and was like, was that for real? It evidently seemed very convincing. So we'll see that tomorrow night, I'm sure, on, I don't know if we'll see it tomorrow night or Thursday night. But we'll see it this week. I don't like the way they've been doing the veto ceremony right before the eviction. I like it when it used to be Wednesday night, we got the veto competition and we got the veto ceremony. And then Thursday was all about the eviction and HOH. And I'm hoping at some point they go back to that. Indy goes up to talk to Taylor. And it's Indy, Jasmine, and Brittany, and Taylor. And she said, Taylor said, my job for the week is done. I don't have anything else to do. It's up to the house. And Indy said, well, if it's a 4-4 vote, what are you going to do? And Taylor's like, oh, crap. I didn't realize it could be a tie this week. And Indy said, well, will you keep me? Will you vote to keep me? And Taylor said, yeah, at the moment. If anything changes, I'll let you know. That right there should be a sign. If anybody ever tells you in the Big Brother house, this is what I'm going to do, but if anything changes, I'll let you know. They already know what they're going to do, and your ass is gone. As soon as Indy walks out of the room, Taylor has a slight slip. Because Jasmine's still in the room with Brittany, and as soon as Indy walks out of the room, Taylor lays down on the bed and said, I really didn't want a woman going home on my HOH. I haven't seen anything that would allude to the fact that Brittany or Jasmine caught it, because it was just so quick. But she pretty much told them in that moment that Indy was the one going home. And Jasmine's watching everybody. Like I said, in every room she's in, she's analyzing movements, conversations, everything. And she doesn't even act like she's in the conversation. Like, there'll be a room full of people talking, and Jasmine will be sitting there just staring, like, kind of at the floor, just shut down face, staring at the floor. Every once in a while looking around at everybody, but not engaging in the conversation at all. To the point where Monty called her out. They're all in there and they're talking, and she's just sitting there, sour face, looking kind of towards the floor. And Monty said, Jasmine, are you all right? Jasmine. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. I was daydreaming. I do that a lot. I do it when I'm driving. She goes into that whole thing. So he calls her out in front of the whole group. We know you. We see you. We know what you're doing. Taylor asked Jasmine if Indy said she wanted to go home. And it's funny because every time Taylor asks this question, she knows that Jasmine was there for the conversation with Kyle. So every time she asks her a question, she already knows the answer to. And each time, Jasmine digs herself in a little bit deeper and deeper. She's like, did she actually say that she wanted to go home? That she wasn't going to go to jury? And Jasmine said, well, yeah, she did, but she was just upset. It was in the moment. She really didn't mean it. She regrets it now. And then I think about that time, Jasmine remembered, oh shit, I wasn't supposed to be a part of that conversation. And she says, oh, but I don't know what happened after that because, I walked away. I was there and then I walked away and then I came back and I heard this and then I walked away. So I wasn't there for the whole conversation. And Taylor just keeps digging. She's going line by line of what Indy said during that whole conversation. And each time, Jasmine's like, oh, well, no, she meant it this way. Or, no, she said this. I think Taylor, in her subtle way, is letting Jasmine know, I see your bullshit. I know you were there. I know you're lying to me. Get out of my face, But Taylor's doing it in a nice, polite way. And then Brittany turns to Jasmine and she says, well, I know that you're close to both of them. What are you going to do? And Jasmine sits up and she looks at Brittany and gives her a look that would kill. Who? I'm close to who? Brittany said, well, you're close to Terrence and Indy. No, I'm close to Indy, but I ain't close to Terrence that way. It might look like it is, but he's probably closer. I'm probably closer to him than he is to me. And Jasmine says, I'm close with Indy. I'm not close with Terrence like that. I know it may seem that way. She says he feels the connection because we're both black, let's be real. And that we're both married. It's a cultural thing. That's why we just click. And then she says, now remember Taylor's in the room, and Brittany. And she has the nerve to say, I would never make anyone feel less than. Isn't that what you've been doing the entire season to Taylor and Brittany? Oh, Taylor must be, in her head, she must be thinking, you got me twisted. I don't know that I could contain myself and not call her out. I know I couldn't. I've had people say, oh, you need to go on Big Brother. You love it so much. Number one, I'm too old. Number two, I'd be voted out the first week because if my mouth doesn't say it, my face does. If I'm pissed, my whole body shows it. I can't hide it. I've been that way all my life. So no, I would never, ever apply for Big Brother. Love to watch it, but I wouldn't last on there. She tells Brittany she may think that her and Terrence are close. And Taylor and Brittany at the both times say, well, he thinks you are. And Taylor says, make sure you talk to him because he's going to be pissed that he doesn't get your vote because he's positive that he's getting your vote. And Jasmine said, damn, Brittany, you just threw me for a loop. And Brittany says, I'm just being real. Well, immediately, Jasmine goes downstairs to talk to Indy, and she's pissed. She is heated. And she said, I'm still pissed. She said, about how she talked to me. Don't ever talk to me and tell me who I'm close to. Now, a couple of people after this have said the same thing to her, and she did not react in that way. But because it's Brittany, she's all pissed off. And she tells Indy, I told her it wasn't any of her damn business, and it got ugly. Bullshit. You sit up there and, oh, no, I'm not close to Terrence. No, you didn't say anything to her in a negative way or show that you were pissed until you got downstairs. Indy talks with Monty and asks him for his vote. She's not even she's not asking for the vote. She's going in and telling him, you're voting for me, right? She's not campaigning. She's just going to talking to people and say, do I have your vote? You know, if I don't have your vote, I'm not going to waste my time. She's even said she's only needs 5 votes. So she's only talking to 5 people that will give her a vote. That tells me all I need to know about her gameplay. She has no idea about Big Brother. She didn't know who Zingbot was. She didn't know what the wall was. She didn't know what OTEV was. Any iconic Big Brother games and comps she knew nothing about. I think she probably watched an episode here and there before she went in, but she's never been a fan of the show. Monty tells her that he hasn't talked to anybody yet. He's got to see where everybody's head's at. You know, give him some time. And he said, I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to tell you that you have my vote if you don't. And I don't know right now if you do. And she said, I've never lied to you as well. That's bullshit, because she was one of the ones that was trying to get him up so he could go be voted out. She said, I've always been honest, and I think I have the votes, but everything in this house changes, and I don't want to be like Amira. That is her big thing. At this point, she's resigned to the fact that she's on the block. But she's telling everybody, I don't want to be like Amira. If you're going to vote me out, just tell me you're going to vote me out, so that I have a heads up. She tells Monty that it's harder for her to be there than the rest of the cast. She says, I fought for 8 years to be a citizen so I could be on this show. I'm pretty sure, since you've never watched this show, that your intention for becoming a U.S. citizen was not to become a Big Brother house guest. Give me a break. Sometimes I would love to just know what goes on inside some of these people's brain. It's so absurd that somebody would become a U.S. citizen to be on a game show, a reality TV show. She keeps talking about Big Brother Brazil. She wants to get on that. When she got her costume, she asked one of them, I think it was Monty or somebody, if that was going to make her more famous on the show. And they were like, yeah, you'll get more airtime if you're in a punishment costume. Just things like that. Terrence is talking to Jasmine, and he says, with your vote, I should have enough. And Jasmine said, you know, I ain't going to lie, this isn't going to be easy for me. She says, I've been close to her, and if I vote her out, that doesn't give me a good look. Then she says, I think about watching as they vote out girl after girl after girl. Terrence says that he doesn't see it as a guy versus girl thing. So then she flips again and says, I just have to consider what the house wants. She's going to vote whichever way the house wants, period. She asked if he had talked to Monty. He said he knows that he doesn't have Monty or Joseph's vote, so there's no reason in even talking to them. So he doesn't plan on campaigning to Monty or Joseph. Kyle and Alyssa finally have their talk. And Kyle's just telling her, we need to cool it. We need to back off. This is hurting our games. We need to be, building relationships outside of ours with everyone in the house. And we can't do that if it's always you and I together. And, we just need to back off until jury or after we get out of the house or whatever. And she's pissed. He tells her, he said, I'm trying to balance personal with game. And it's getting hard to balance the two. And he said, we only, spend time together, so we're not building those outside relationships that we need in the game. And she said, he said that it's not that I don't like you. And she snapped. I don't know why you keep saying that. Hot and cold, hot and cold. Why do you keep telling me that? She's telling him, that's just too much for my heart to handle. She said, it really makes me mad that you say all these things and then turn around and say, but I really like you. She said, you're telling me you need space and we need to knock it off or whatever. And then in the same breath, you tell me you like me. So she's like, you're sending confusing signals, just one way or the other. And she said, if this was the real world, I wouldn't have put up with it. You would have already been gone. And she says, I have a handle on my relationships. I don't have a problem with any of my relationships in the house. And I don't need help with that. And Kyle said, well, I do, because I'm not making enough time to build relationships because I'm always with you. So right now, I think they're at the cool it stage again. Who knows? I think that Kyle has realized that what he did this week by not using the video to try to save her has put a huge target on his back from both sides of the house. So I think that he feels like he's missing out on a lot of key conversations, and he wants to be a part of it. I've noticed him being around the members of the Leftovers a lot more the last couple of days. Jasmine and Turner talks. Jasmine is trying to find out where his head is, where his vote's going to be. And she said, it's funny because nobody in this house would ever think that you and I are working together. There will never be a scenario to where those two work together because Turner literally cannot stand her. He has started leaving the rooms when she walks in because he can't even stand the sound of her voice right now. So I don't see that happening, but he humors her. And she tells him, oh, this is going to be a hard week for me because I'm very close to both of them. Now, an hour ago, you just said you wanted to jump Brittany's ass because she said you were close to both of them and that you weren't. And now you're telling Turner, well, this is going to be hard because I'm close to both of them. Which is it, Jasmine? And Turner just comes right out and tells her, I'm voting for Terrence to stay. I'm voting Indy out. And he plans on telling Indy the same thing if she asks, that she doesn't have his vote. She says, well, I'm not sticking my neck out for anyone. I'll go for whatever the house wants. And Jasmine asked him how he felt about Monty and Turner. He said, personally, we're close friends, but game-wise, we don't talk game. She said, so if we were to go after Monty, would you be like, no way, this isn't happening? And he said, no, because he'd beat me in the end. Now, Turner's telling her what she wants to hear. I have a pretty good suspicion that at some point Turner will get with Monty and tell him the conversation. She says, game-wise, Terrence is best for my game, but Indy, personal-wise. She says she's not going to be healed by the time they leave the house. She has been telling everybody, I think they're fixing to take the boot away from her and make her at least just wear a brace. The foot is healed. It's been healed since they took the scooter. She's using that so that nobody votes her out. She's using that Christmas strategy. And, whenever Christmas had she actually had a broke foot or broke ankle or something. So she was in a full cast for most of the game. So she's trying to pull a Christmas, and she's actually said in the DR that she wants to play Christmas's game. Kyle, Michael, and Brittany talk. Kyle says, if I win HOH next week, is it too early to take a shot at one of the Leftovers? Actually, he said, is it too early to make a big move? So that's the only thing he can, because there's no big moves to be made on the convenience store side. And Michael says, the only thing that I'm afraid of is that if we keep Jasmine, that, he said, just look at Taylor. She's on the block week after week after week, and here we are, week 5, and she's still here. And I don't want that to happen to Jasmine. He's like, I want to get Jasmine out before I do any big moves on the other side. So they agree that they need to get down, get one more person out of the house before they turn on each other. The thing about that is they don't know the twist is coming. They're going to have absolutely no control over how that house is split. I seen on Twitter somebody said they may pull chips to split the house. And they may. How they do for the veto. At least we'd know all the names are in there. But it may be luck of the draw. And if you get 5 leftovers on one team, then one of them's going home. If that would only leave 2 on the other side, and those 2 could possibly be the ones on the block and one of them go home. So we could possibly lose 2 leftover members this week. Oh my God. Taylor and Joseph's punishment. They are actually dressed, to me, it looked like John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John on Grease. You know, the blonde kinky wig, and she's got a blonde kinky wig, and they're in leather and all of that, and he's got a really dark black wig. But they have to talk in accents. Her accent is New Yorker. His accent is London, English, UK, British. That's what I was trying to think. Totally left my mind. His accent is to be British. It's funny as hell. Although 2 days of it's probably going to be driving me crazy by the time it's over with. But right now it's cute and it's funny. They're chained together. I said probably 3 to 4 foot, but it looks like maybe even 2 to 3 foot that their chain is. It's fairly close. So he's sleeping in the HOH room. He's staying in the HOH room with her. That's where they'll be for the next 2 days. Taylor and Joseph talk. And Taylor said Michael told Kyle about Alyssa to protect himself. And that is true. Michael is the one that told Kyle that they were going to backdoor Alyssa. Joseph said, yeah, I'm afraid Kyle made a move that's not beneficial to his game. And Joseph said, we have to watch situations like this. And when it gets down to 9, not 7, you notice he said 9, then we can readjust for phase 2. So basically, he's saying the same thing Michael and Kyle's saying. When they get down to 9, they're going to make some cuts. And I honestly think in Joseph's mind, those cuts would be Kyle and Turner. But I don't see him going after Monty at all. So they're all thinking along the same lines of when they get down to 9 people, the leftovers are probably going to split. The leftovers talk about Andy and Jasmine hiding food. Evidently, Jasmine finds something she likes and she'll hide it from everybody else in the house. Hers is like chips and sweets and Fruit Loops and stuff like that. Andy's is yogurt, peach yogurt, and something else. There was peach yogurt, bread, M&M's, granola. Anyway, they were all talking about, you know, they're not subtle about hiding it because they're hiding it in the storage room where everybody goes for food. Or they think they're hiding it. And so Turner says, I'm going to go get everything they've got hidden. Even ground turkey. Indy's hiding ground turkey because Jasmine likes the ground turkey instead of hamburger meat. So she hides it so that when she makes hamburgers, she can make Jasmine turkey burgers. Why not just tell people to leave the turkey alone? That's for when we have hamburgers. But anyway, Turner goes down and gets everything except for the meat that they've hidden in the storage room and brings it up to the HOH room. And they've got it hidden in their drawer up there. So they're waiting to see who's the first one that comes out. Who took my granola? Who took my yogurt? Who took, you know. They're just up to shenanigans tonight. Today is Jasmine's birthday, so I'm sure it's going to be filled with so much extra. She told them last night that she knew they couldn't go out and get her a card, so they need to write a card in their minds because, you know, they can't have pencil and paper. So they need to write a card in their mind, and then at some point tonight, they're supposed to all go up to the HOH room, celebrate Jasmine's birthday, and have every member in the house recite their card that they've written in their head to her. Like, seriously, you're going to have 11 people stand around and recite cards. Everybody's aggravated with her still. I don't know if I told y'all, but Terrence and Alyssa were working out with Monty with weights, and they both threw their back out. So they've both been down in their back for 2 days now, to the point where they need help getting up. Like, if they're in a sitting position, they need help actually standing up because their backs are gone. They're seeing the doctor, they're getting cortisone shots, they're getting muscle creams and all kinds of stuff. So they're all sitting in the living room last night. And Jasmine, they told her to replace her battery or replace her microphone. So she tells Terrence, who number one is on the block, number two, his back is thrown out, gives him her mic, or hands him her mic, and says, will you go change that out for me? With everybody else in the living room, you know Terrence is hurt. And they're literally hurt. You're faking an injury, and you're going to have Terrence go do stuff for you. It's unbelievable. So today ought to be, they've got alcohol that they're going to have tonight. No telling what's going to happen. We shall see. But that's about all I have for you guys today. Don't forget to leave a comment and let me know what you think. Oh, and I have reached my 4,000 hours watched, and we are at almost 3,645 subscribers. You guys are killing it. Share my videos. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. I appreciate you. I can't talk today. So, have a great day, and as always, much love.